Joey, can I comment on
No, we're going to go around to the next. We're going to go around to the next question again here for the round table. Again, this is a question for all 6 of the candidates, including Ricardo Bernstein, at the end, which we'll just all just sit silently for 90 seconds for and let them respond. Let's talk about the City of Miami Police Department. Works very hard to keep us safe in one of the most violent cities in not only the country but in the world. As recently as 2010 and 2011, 7 young black men in a course of 8 months were shot and killed by police officers. That was a higher rate of police killings than even high-density areas like the NYPD have per capita. We had the Department of Justice come in and do an investigation that the Regalado administration has been dragging their feet with the DOJ to negotiate that settlement. And only recently, I understand, has even returned to the table. We have a situation where even when there is accountability, that seems to backfire. Recently, we have seen just blocks away from here during Art Basel last year, a graffiti artist here in Wynwood who was tagging a wall was hit and killed by a Miami police undercover vehicle. Immediately, the pictures from the scene completely contradicted the police version of the events of how a graffiti artist in Wynwood, a community known the world over for its graffiti, during Art Basel week, was hit by a car and killed on the sidewalk by a City of Miami police officer. Still no answers, still no accountability, still no end to the investigation. Just this past July, we had a homeless man, well known in the community in a park, who was shot and killed by a Miami City police officer. 2 of them, one of whom pulled a taser, the other of whom pulled a gun and shot him, I believe, 6 times. No answers, no accountability, no end to the investigation. And anyone who has any institutional memory in this community knows that Miami-Dade County State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle has, in her 24-year career nearly, has never prosecuted a police officer for an on-duty shooting. That is not only a statistic impossibility, it is a factual impossibility based on the findings of the Department of Justice. One of the police officers involved in the 2011 shootings shot and killed an unarmed black man. He was justifiably fired by the police chief for violating procedure in an unjustified shooting. In 2014, he was hired back with full back pay, nearly $80,000. The taxpayers pay and pay and pay again. We pay these police officers, we pay the wrongful death lawsuits, we pay their back pay when they're reinstated, and more importantly, we pay the price in our community for the unsafe streets we have because we foster mistrust between the police department and the people that they police. And more importantly, we pay the price as taxpayers for the lack of justice that we feel in the community, which might be the most dangerous tax of all. What would you do as District 2 commissioners to make a difference in an issue that is affecting the entire country, to make City of Miami a leader in change and not continue to allow the Regalado administration to drag their feet with the DOJ, make a difference, save the lives of police officers, save the lives of our citizens, and make the City of Miami safe again?
I'm going to take a quick comment also to go back to Ken's comment on sustainability. I don't deal in past issues, I deal in future issues. And our office is a new office, it's something that is just starting. And we have a county compact that is working, that is also just started. There is a future in environmental concerns for the city and for the county. Again, I don't deal with the past, cutting down mangrove. I deal with the future of how we're going to deal with our future climate change, and that's what I support. On to the police. The big issue that we've got going on right now is that the unions want more police, they want more staff, they want more people. And what happens is we don't have the quality of the candidates. So we cannot do community policing, which will make officers on the ground more noticeable. They'll know their areas better. When I talk to all the police officers, they simply say the same thing. We need quality over quantity. In other words, I don't need 100 Hyundais, I need 20 Ferraris. And the majority of the crime, the majority of the things that are done, beg your pardon, Maseratis too.
We're good.
Great. Every single one of my lawsuits has been with respect of my belief that the laws had been violated. Every single one of them. This one is no different. So when I get there, I am going to demand they give me an update of what's going on with those investigations. And I'm going to make them very, very public of what's going on and why isn't, and what's going on in the mediation during the conferences with the Department of Justice, and make it out there and find out what's going on and take care of it. But one of the issues that I also have to agree with Javi on this one. The night of the budget meeting that I was there until almost 10 o'clock at night, there were $15,311 taken from capital improvement to give to the police. Because the pressure that the police chief got in their hiring 100 or 200, so many, and so quick, it doesn't give you time to really vet those people. So you're running a huge risk of getting the people that shouldn't be handling a gun or on the streets.
How do you fix that, though? You have 15 seconds. How do you fix that?
Well, I'm going to revisit the issue of the $15,311 for new police officers and go back to the table again. You cannot be hiring people that are not capable of having a gun to their waist. You can't.
It's true. Better quality officers come from better paid initial candidates. And we are second lowest in South Florida, as far as I know, behind Hialeah. Only beat by Hialeah in terms of lowest pay for initial candidates.
My
If
God.
I'm not mistaken.
Madre de Dios.
Madre de Dios. And what kind of quality candidates are you going to get if you do that? Our own commander will say, he'll be the first to say, we don't have the best quality candidates coming in. And that shows you what you're going to get. So you need better cops, and then you need better enforcement. How do you get better enforcement if you don't have accountability of the elected officials who are supposed to be doing that enforcement? And that's where it comes back to all of us.
So how do you make them more accountable, though, as a commissioner?
Simply filing lawsuits will not get it done. If you file lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, and you lose them, and I'm looking at Grace here.
Grace is going to sue you tomorrow.
I know she is. The cause may be valiant, but it has to do with the way you go about solving the problem. If your first step is to file a lawsuit, you better make sure you're going to win. But it shouldn't be the first step. The first step, it's just a symbolic lawsuit in that case. You need to find the solutions to the problem. If you can get the perception of the problem aware to the public, and get the public on your side, and get the elected officials accountable, perhaps you don't get to the lawsuit phase.
That's fine, but you don't fight the fights you can win. You don't fight the fights you can win. You don't fight the fights you can win. You fight the fights that are worth fighting. And we have seen time and again commissioners that we have believed in and that we have put our faith and trust in who have not delivered on these promises. I'm talking to you, Francis. I'm talking to you, Keon. I'm talking to you, Mark. Okay, let's be real about this. I didn't expect anything from the other guys, but let's, but
That's right, we can each one, we can do a duet.
But honestly, it all sounds well and good, and this goes back to the point, Ken, of how are you actually, the promises sound heady and populist and lovely, but how do you actually deliver on that?
Stronger CIP. Stronger CIP with Tabita power.
And I think and paddleboard yoga, I think is another good one. Which I love.
I need to answer that.
Answer what?
On the issue of the lawsuits, please, because you're a nice guy, but you're highly ignorant of the law. The reason why
How many cases did you win out of those four?
and they are lawyers here. The merits of my cases were never heard.
That's right.
The violations of the law, of charter violations were never entertained.
That's right.
They killed me on the standing issue because they thought or they demanded that I had a special interest. Just because I had the same injury that you all did, they didn't let me go through. So my case had merit. They violated the charter, and there are lawyers here that, besides my boss, who actually got involved in this Skyrise lawsuit, and they were shocked when the Supreme Court denied certiorari because it kills the right of every single citizen in the state of Florida from challenging your elected official from violating the charter. That's how important that is and how detrimental. Now you can continue.
Grace and I will be drinking at Gramps after the show. But, let's be real. Grace and I were drinking at Gramps before the show. I can't party with it. I can't keep up with Grace. I can't party with her. So Ken, back to my follow-up on the issue of it. It all sounds well and good, but how do you actually effectuate any of the things that you've just expressed?
Well, as a city commissioner, you need to never say that the buck, that this problem is too big for me to deal with, that this is a county, a federal, a state issue, and what can I do? You need to be a vocal advocate for your community. And that's where police enforcement and fighting for getting better paid initial police, that's in the job of the commission. They can do that. They can bring that about.
Lori, I imagine you as a downtown Miami business owner have a lot of experience in this matter with street crime and dealing with police officers on our street who I want to make perfectly clear have a really difficult and terrible job, and I completely support the idea of all of you of giving them raises first and foremost. I think that's how you definitely attract more quality candidates. What have you seen on the ground in downtown Miami, and what would you do about reforming police department?
I think that what we have in Miami is what we're seeing across our entire nation. Black Lives Matter. We need to step up and not accept this anymore. It's wrong to go on. It is like 100% wrong. I cannot believe that it's 2015. I'm old, I'm 51, and so I saw the Rodney King riots, I saw all kinds of stuff. We have to stop this. I mean, this is America. This is not okay. What we can do from a local level is we can look at our police, we can look at training, because obviously we've got some issues with training. I think somebody shot a dog in the head today. I mean, enough. People that are carrying weapons need to truly be trained, and they need to understand the stress of that. It's like being at war at times. I mean, I get it. It's adrenaline. We can look at our community right now, and from a public safety issue, not get more police, get better police, but in the interim, let's get security officers that have a way to communicate with the police, that can walk the beat, but are not carrying guns. I have a neighbor that walks her dog in the park with a loaded handgun. Every time she gets in the elevator with me, I'm hoping I don't piss her dog off. It's just too much. We need to change the way that we run things.
Lori seems like a gun for crying out loud. And don't worry if you're a cop, your neighbor's dog, you can shoot it dead. So on camera and get away with it. Javier Ortiz, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police in the City of Miami Police Department, will defend you as a cop to murder that dog on video. Right at the front door of its owner as it comes out with its tail wagging to greet that cop. America, baby, 2015. How about that, huh? Seth, good morning. Buenos dias. Mi amigo, ¿cómo está?
This is a subject I can talk for an hour on. I won't, but I've given it a great deal of thought about it. The first thing is that the whole city of Miami Police Department needs a major psychological change. The good cops who want to be good cops are not allowed to be good cops. The bad cops rise to the top and get, they make over $100,000 a year, and it's the buddy system, and it's a horrible system. Part of the problem is you need to engage the community and get the community involved in seeking good police action. I'm in Coconut Grove, and I just went to the people on the street and had them help dissuade people from engaging in conduct that was unbecoming. We stopped them breaking into cars, we stopped people from shooting each other. Up until recently, we started again with gangbangers from other areas. But we got it under control, and it was up on street level. It wasn't the police that did it, it was just me going out and talking to people and getting the players involved. So we need better pay for initial officers, we need psychological testing and psychological training for how to deal with people.
Thanks, Seth. George, start off.
More officers.
When you come from a family with a mom and 8 sisters, you learn a few things.
Keeping it 100. So, all right, it's going to get real fast now, folks. So we're in our keeping it 100 round, and I'm going to ask one question, and each of you can just give a 1 or 2-word answer. You ready for this? Are you ready? Okay, I wore my Depends just for this round. So, if you could vote for any candidate that isn't yourself, who would it be and why? So obviously it's longer than 2 words, but who would it be and why?
Can I tell you who I won't vote for?
No.
There is, I'll tell you what, I actually think that Lori Woods is a very, very good one. Obviously, I don't run a political machine, and she doesn't either, so I kind of dig that.
All right, fair enough.
The first time that I saw Lori Woods, she struck me as a very honest person that speaks from the heart. And
Lori and Lewis have offered us free beer. Despite what you guys see up here, because this is the 10th part of the race, this actually has been a really great year. And we've all gotten to know each other quite a bit. And I've had beers at Elwood's, and I've felt the hospitality there. And I've talked with Lori deeply about why she's in this race. And despite the polling, despite the money, despite the nastiness, she's sticking it out for the right reasons, and I would vote for Lori too.
Thank you, that was unexpected, and you guys are all wonderful. And free beer afterwards. Anyway, I was at one of the
Free beer? These would be the cheapest commissioners to buy ever.
I was at one of the early candidate forums, and there were, I think, 8 of us, and there was back and forth, this, that, and the other. And someone came up, I went to say thank you to somebody, and they said, you shouldn't be in this race. There's only 3 people, you're in the way, this doesn't matter. And I said, you know what, this is America, and it matters. And then another person came up, and then another, and the other 2 were called out by the same person. And he said, well, no one will vote for you. And I looked at him, and I said, you know what, I'll vote for Seth. So I'm going to stick with that Seth original, and that's what I said, and I stand by it.
Yeah, it's sort of like the less popular Bernie Sanders of the operation up here.
I'm good for this.
I don't hear about the calls or emails. So it's like, it's all right, Seth.
I'm giving this a great deal of thought, and I like Javi and I like Ken because they do their homework. They actually do the research. They don't know it can't be done. and they get things done quietly, and they get to the right decision because they've done their homework. I like Lori because she has heart. I like Grace because she's against everything. I like Arbor because he makes me laugh.
What about
But I'll
Teresa?
vote for me.
I'm sorry, Ted. A quick follow-up. What about Teresa?
Who? I'll tell you one thing about Teresa. She has always been very sweet to me and very, very nice. And the fact that we're having an affair.
When you come from a family with a mom,
I've been wondering whose gray hair it was on the pillow. We can talk later. Kind of stepped on my punchline, but it was funny. All right, so we're gonna go around and around again. This is round 5, single, the real commish. We're gonna ask some personal questions, which really makes me want to call Teresa again, but probably won't pick up, so I'm sure there's somebody here who said, don't pick up. Billy's calling you, don't pick up. I wish I had updated to 9.1 so I can emoji a middle finger to you right now, but Billy's calling you, don't pick up. So, all right, starting with hobby, I need, from each of you, favorite book, movie, and band.
Favorite book?
Book, movie, and band. Or musician, music artist. I didn't know this was going to be the hard one.
The books are tough. It's kind of silly.
It's Miami. The books are always tough.
Once you get rid of the pictures.
As Joe Rogan always says, if you want to go broke, open a bookstore in Florida. All right. So
I can say that I read every Harry Potter novel. So that would probably be. I'm a big Teddy Roosevelt fan, and the book Teddy Roosevelt is on my desk right now. The other thing, movie, is The Philadelphia Story with Cary Grant and with Kate Hepburn. And then anybody who knows me knows it's Jimmy Buffett, for God's sakes. I've been singing it to him forever. So it's
certainly
Jimmy.
dressed like it.
Yeah. So keep it real here. Thanks.
It's book, movie, and music artist.
Any Tom Clancy book, any. The next one is?
A movie. Favorite movie.
Movie, any comedy, because I go to movies to have fun. Really?
I would have thought legal thriller. I don't know why.
Friday the 13th is what I like, actually. And Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett, really? Is he here?
What's going on?
Jimmy Buffett.
Ken. My favorite book is Game Change because it's the story of a relative unknown that beats the wife of an incumbent. That was Obama versus Hillary. My favorite movie is When Harry Met Sally because I'm a romantic. My wife's here. So, you guys are too young for that. You don't even remember that movie. I'm 43. Nice. Just showed your age. Just showed your age. And my favorite band is Daft Punk because my yo-yo company just signed a deal with them and we have Daft Punk yo-yos if you guys have.
Lori, book, movie, musician, or band.
Okay, the book would be Attila the Hun. The movie would be...
Let's leave Teresa out of this, please, all right?
The movie would be the one that I can continually watch when you have a husband that likes to watch things over and over again and memorize the lines. The one that I can stomach constantly would be Fight Club. And then band would be David Bowie, because I'm sick of it.
The book was Cat's Cradle. The movie should be Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I played the dead thing, but my favorite movie was really Tom Jones. And what was the other one? Musician. I was like the Rolling Stones. I was a bodyguard for Mick Jagger, and when he asked me to come out to California to do the security at a rock concert they were having in Altamont, I said, oh, I was too busy. I recommended this motorcycle group called the Rolling Stones, and unfortunately the rest is history, but it was a true story.
The most interesting man in the world.
I know you're a bodyguard for Mick Jagger, so I guess the next question you don't even need to bother answering, and Grace already has. Have you smoked marijuana? And if you haven't, would you like to tonight? We should call Teresa back, right? I mean, Javi, you're a Jimmy Buffett fan, dude.
I have never smoked weed.
All right, hang on. We need a focus group. Well, where's the other side of that? Hang on a second. Grace, you need to answer the second part of the question.
Tonight, no.
All right. I know a guy.
As many of you learned this week, I'm in the surf industry. Yes, I have.
Yes and no to tonight.
I wouldn't shoot that marijuana in my veins for all the T and X. But I have smoked it. One time back in 1970, I took one toke, and my legs went numb. And I stopped. I really haven't done anything since. And my memory was starting to go.
And Teresa was too stoned to show up tonight, obviously. Which is a bummer. If she had the munchies, she could have some waffles. Okay, the last of these, and they wrote this for me, so I thought it was kind of fun, so I'm going to ask you, the U or Cocaine Cowboys? That's it? That's on the list of questions. So I'm going to ask it. And if you don't know what it means, then that's you can waffle on it, I guess.
I'll give you some bizarre insight. We were there, my wife and I, when they had the shootout at the Shell liquor stores over at Dateland back in
Crown.
So we were there. So I would say you went.
All right, the U, fair enough.
What's the question then?
The U or Cocaine Cowboys? Really? Because honey, you got Cocaine Cowboys written all over you. Mama Benita over here, come on now. Ken, you're up.
I'm a fan of your earlier Smashing Pumpkins work.
I grew the hair out.
I'll go with the classic Cocaine Cowboys.
Okay, fair enough.
The only one I've seen, truthfully, is Cocaine Cowboys 2, but I have a
Said no one ever. Seriously? Then I'm sorry, I got $7 for you. I'll give you after the show tonight.
but I have some follow-up for you for Cocaine 3.
It's time for the candidates' closing remarks. You have, how much time do they have? 90 seconds? They've got 90 seconds to explain why Miami's young voters should vote for you.
Obviously not because I smoke weed. First of all, I want to thank everyone coming out and engaged for holding this. This has been the best event. It's been a pleasure to be up here and kind of give you our perspective. The questions were actually very, very good. I've said it over and over. I'm a local kid. I grew up here. I came home from Cuba in 1965, and I grew up in the Grove. And I grew up public. I went to public schools and took public transportation. I grew up in public parks. And it's one of the things that I've always said that I wanted to give back to my community. I've been in business for a very long time. I started working when I was 16 years old. Actually, I thought it again. I started working when I was like 7 years old because my dad would take me down to the farms in Homestead and we would run around and pick avocados and mangoes. So I've been working for a long time. I've been in business for a long time. I've been successful at what I do and what I've accomplished. And I always wanted to give back to my community. I wanted to give back to the people that have given me so much. So that's really the reason I'm running. I have the energy. I have the passion for it. I love this town, and I feel that we need a change of just 4 years just to give us something different, just to kind of look at it in a little bit different way. To bring honesty, to bring trust, to bring compassion to a city that I love so much. This is one of the greatest cities. My wife hates me because sometimes she says you want to go somewhere. I said, listen, Miami's my town, and I want to get back. That's simple as that. Thank you.
Really? Dope before it came here.
That's
Good. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming tonight. And what Tammy said is fantastic. This is most fun that I've had at a forum ever throughout this entire incredible 1 year campaign. Why the millennials should vote for me? I'll tell you why. My entire team is millennial. My entire team. My kitchen cabinet that we have met in my house, and I see one of them very prominently in the back, are millennial. I need to have young people around me because I have the experience of the years that I've been actually dealing with the city of Miami and with the many issues. But they have enormous vision. I'm looking at a man in the back who has an incredible idea about transportation. Since the moment I met him, and I met him many years ago. Actually, when he told me about it, I said, if I ever run for something, I want this young guy there with me, because he has incredible ideas. And my entire team, I want that vision of the young people right beside me. I will have the experience of the years that I've been doing this, but their ideas I need. And that's why I need and want the millennials to be with me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for tonight. I've really enjoyed this. Why I'm doing this is so important to all of us because it's important to me, it's important to my family. I'm raising my 3 kids here, and I want them to grow up here. I moved back to Miami when my son was 1 year old, and the things that we need to worry about are not the past and are not where we are now, it's where Miami is going. And the lack of ethics in the history of this city. We can't have the past anymore. We got to get rid of this. It's time to move on. There needs to be a new generation of thinking, a new generation of politics and leadership and a way of getting things done. And you all are that. And you don't need someone you can work with in City Hall. You need someone who is an advocate, like you in City Hall, who thinks about things like open data, who thinks about things like cycling, who thinks about transportation issues and a real way of getting things done, and gets rid of that old way of leverage and fighting and horse trading and starts really thinking about positive solutions in a good way. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm looking for volunteers here tonight. Yasmin, where are you? Yasmin Nasser is our volunteer coordinator. If anyone wants to sign up for a campaign and help out, we got 2 weeks left and we need your help because the stormtrooper is not here, but she is still watching and she's very strong. And so we need to work together, and I hope for your support. Number 73, my birth year. Ken Russell, thank you.
best moderator ever. It is thoroughly entertaining and red flag. This has been an awesome journey as an individual that was never looking to get into politics. I have found so many incredible people. I sit among so many competitors that are awesome individuals. You have people that really care about Miami. It's so inspiring to know people like this. The people that I've met in the 5 years that I've been here, the advisors that I have assisting me are the reason that I sit before you. It's not about me, it's about all of us. We have an incredible community. We can do so much better. I am here to serve and to act as a catalyst and a connector of all the good that is Miami. I love this town. I don't think I could live anywhere else after the insanity that it is. It just gets in your blood, and I don't know where else I could go. Possibly Iowa, I wasn't sure. But I ask you to join me and really reach out, and let's get engaged, let's get together, and let's make this what we want. Let's shape our future. We are at the point it's time to become the world-class city. Thank you, appreciate your vote.
I want to give a special thank you to Al Crespo for televising all of these debates. I want to thank you to Carlos Miller for Photography is Not a Crime, PINAC, which I enjoy watching every night. Brad Knopfler, who brought some good ideas to downtown, and Lori, who's continuing to do that. And all of you for coming out and being engaged and getting involved. You know, I don't identify with the old farts. I'm near my people, and I'm looking for ideas. And I have a lot of really interesting ideas that I'd like to bring forward. And I'd like your help. And anybody has any suggestions, you know, bring them to me, and I'll get them out, because I know how to distribute information. I try to make my campaign green. I didn't use much paper in the campaign at all. I'm on my bicycle every day. I haven't driven in this since the campaign started. So join me, number 76, Seth Sparrow for City Commission. I'm on your side.
It's going to bridge this more than enough for your carbon footprint with her mailers. But finally, Teresa, stormtrooper or clone trooper?
When you come from a family with a mom and 8 sisters, you learn a few things.
So, thank you all for showing up tonight. I do want to say that I was going to announce who I'm endorsing. It was going to be the waffle, but I think it's going to have to be Carlos Alvarez. Because I'd just like to remind our elected and future elected leaders, and I'm rooting for each and every one of you, and whoever you are who will be the next commissioner for District 2 of Miami, just know that you will be held accountable even after you are elected and get the vote. Remember Carlos, he's ripped right now. He can bench Mark Sarnoff. So anyway, I would now like to introduce, to close things out, remind you about the straw poll that should not end up your nose. Be careful. Miami and straw polls, it's not a good thing. But when she's not a board member of Engage Miami, she is doing the Lord's work, working too hard and getting way underpaid and underfunded at the Dade County Public Defender's Office of Syracuse.
I can't thank Billy Corbin and the candidates enough for being here. I think that what this candidate forum proves to us, and I hope you all too, is that democracy is delicious. And we are ready to show up, and we are ready to build the city that really lives our values. All right? And I'm so heartened to see each and every one of you here. So taking part in the political process, much like eating waffles, is very, very satisfying. And I hope you all feel that same way too. We're ready to take responsibility for what happens in our community. And we're going to show up not only to vote, we're going to show up to City Hall, we're going to show up to budget hearings. The apathy of this generation is over, and now it's time for action. And I see people here, born in 1990, looking at you guys, who are going to vote, and who are going to show up. Okay, a couple of reminders. Voting early or absentee is actually a great way to take the pressure off the election, because you know what could happen? You could fall ill, like Teresa Sarnoff. You could get really, really sick, and then you wouldn't be able to show up. So I don't want that to happen to you guys. So I vote absentee every time, so that I vote in the comfort of my own home, next to the internet. I can look up every issue. It's really, really great.
And my abuelita is a boletera, so she can help you right at the Navarro's parking lot. Right up here.
All right, you all also need to know that if no candidate gets 50% of the vote, then there will be a runoff. So you need to pay attention and keep paying attention. All right. Just a couple more points. So we are Engage Miami. We have a website, engage.miami, and if you want to go there and connect with us and throw a couple bucks our way so that we can keep throwing incredible events that are really, really fun, slightly profane, moderately profane, pro-waffle, pro-marijuana for some reason, all the reasons. If you want to keep coming to events like this, you got to it'd be great if you threw a couple bucks our way. Justin, the man in the delightful jean jacket, is walking around collecting money. If you all have a few bucks to spare, that'd be amazing. Remember to vote in our straw poll. It's at the front. Just vote for whichever candidate you think is the best, you think did the best today. And the last thing is that the people are powerful. Don't ever forget that. You are the results of the straw poll on our website after we calculate. There will be no voter fraud.